Do you want to see some inspiring project ideas? Check out this video for the highlights of my most exciting adventures the past few years. Hello, my name is Jack, Mr. Jack of all trades. In my life, I've wanted to learn and do everything imaginable. Being a jack of all trades is a blast, but I've wondered, how can I master a craft? How do I become disciplined and focused? I ran across a quote by David Allen that made me realize something. You can do anything, but you can't do everything. If I wanted to master anything, I'm going to have to work on my strategy. Today, I would like to share with you my quest in finding my niche. I'll share some of my experiments and maybe it'll give you some inspiration. A few years ago, I joined Toastmasters to improve my storytelling. I learned a lot, but I wanted to connect with the audience from a deeper level, such as my passions in computer science or my faith in Christ. People attending Toastmasters were there mostly to learn public speaking, and rightfully so. It became confusing when I talked about my subjects in computer science and my faith in Christ. This led me to an idea to start my own specialized group through Meetup. I could talk about my work skills and it would be a lot easier to connect with others with the same interests. It was a difficult start. I tried sharing my knowledge I acquired from work in my skills such as Linux. Hardly anyone came. I thought I could share useful hot skills like Kubernetes, and that would help people find jobs that were in high demand. It didn't draw much of a crowd because it turns out a lot of people learn these skills on the job rather than for fun in their free time. So what was I going to do? I needed to get more people involved as a community. I started asking for people to volunteer. And this worked really well as we had a lot of people interested in topics such as Python and machine learning. And I was able to keep people coming back as long as we had new presenters and new topics from a variety of people each week. After the first year, Meetup was going pretty well. And so the following year, I decided I could add another craft and I thought I would try becoming a musician. I went from playing the piano to the guitar to teaching people how to DJ, singing with my family, and then finally I found my place singing karaoke. This lasted for about 10 months when I realized I had started to plateau with my singing. I had reached a level, but in order for me to continue growing, I would need to start a band. And it turns out that I wasn't committed full time, but I did love singing at church, and I still believe that it helps boost my creativity when I'm in a slump. Later that year, my friend at Meetup suggested that we try attending Faire. Faire is a show and tell for science projects. This is when our Meetup really took off, and we started working together on personal projects. We built high-tech wearables, and we had a great time. In order to keep this momentum after Faire, I went on a journey of exploring a variety of personal projects. The first, inspired by Faire, was to build my own 3D printed rockets. I could say this was a real blast. The only way I could take it to the next altitude was to join a certified club and drive to a land far, far away. I 3D printed my own jack-o'-lantern to express my joy for Halloween. People thought this was cool, but most people didn't want to buy a 3D printer because, quite frankly, it's not really mainstream ready. Also inspired by Faire, I created new inventions from my imagination in virtual reality. This technology is so far ahead of its time, the tools are not in enough people's hands to get them to experience VR. As I continued my personal projects at Meetup, I wanted to share my stories on social media. My favorite platform for storytelling is YouTube. And this led me on to a journey of exploring ways to capture moments with different types of video. My first experimentation was with 360-degree cameras, and this was very interesting to imagine the possibilities of being immersed in 360 video. It was also ahead of its time because many of our devices that we have are only experiencing the world in 2D. I went on drone excursions and people love to see beautiful landscapes, but only if it fits into a bigger story. Drone photography by itself is quite boring. It was great footage, but I couldn't really use it unless I had a better story. I tried wearable cameras to capture every moment. Everyone wondered if I was recording them. And it was also difficult to keep the camera charged and store the footage. I captured footage of my one-wheel adventures and burnouts. This was an extremely fun sport, but I had to wonder, is this part of my craft or is this just another drone distraction? Maybe I should try a paramotor. It was springtime and I had the idea to go on a hike. I could use my newly acquired video skills to capture the beautiful landscapes. I brought my drone and it turned out to be an epic adventure. What a great way to experience something different, but not something that I would do on the regular. I continued with more personal tech projects. I built my own Alexa skills. I taught Alexa how to personalize my questions and responses, and this made me realize the possibilities of a smart home. I bought many major smart home tech gadgets, including cameras, doorbells, thermostats, door locks, TVs, and soundbars. And it's exciting that our voice assistant can now control more than just responding to weather or Wikipedia. I could only buy so many before it became too expensive, and quite frankly, there was only about a dozen devices that really add extra value to our lives. But I am very hopeful that this will continue to grow, so I'll revisit this in a few years. I went on a work trip for a conference and I thought, since I love storytelling, why don't I vlog my experience? It was a wonderful time and I would love to do more of them, but I'm not a frequent traveler. I didn't see myself becoming a travel vlogger. I did enjoy my story and I would love to do it again on my next trip. During the previous couple of projects, I picked up some great photos. I thought to myself, why not try learning photography? I had the fun idea of capturing the Milky Way. Unfortunately, I crashed my wife's car on the trip, but it was something I could truly remember as an epic adventure. Photography caught my attention for a while because I discovered many interesting techniques such as light painting and light trails. After a while, I lost my attention to photography because I learned to create my own images by painting. This way I could communicate my visual imagination to everyone. I started a series of painting tutorials, and I learned a lot by teaching drawing. I did realize that people would rather be entertained than just be taught. I learned I must tell stories in addition to just tutorials. I must share what inspires me to explore and create. My source of inspiration is Jesus. I decided I wanted to tell stories of my faith rather than just teachings. However, this didn't last too long as I ran out of stories because of my variety of interests. I did learn I can include in my stories how Jesus inspires me every day. I'm now on a journey of learning the importance of writing, acting, and illustrating in my storytelling. After all these experiences, did I actually find my niche? It turns out I found a few common threads that have become my strategy. I have a passion for following Christ, exploring computer science, and telling stories. These passions have helped me become a better problem solver and storyteller. This is my plan to help the world become a better place. I hope to see you in the next video. Cheers and God bless.